So you've got great executive presence, and people experience it when you're in the room. But what about after you've left? Are you memorable? Now, this is coming out of a communication that I had with a subscriber of mine who had tried the Karmic coaching executive presence checklist. And she told me that people told her she had executive presence. She felt she had it. And yet she was also told that she wasn't memorable. Now, I don't think that's a very good thing, because when you are trying to build up your career and go places, then you shouldn't be like a one hit wonder on the top of the pops list, but more like an evergreen song. So are you? I I'm Vatsala Shukla, the Chief Encouragement Officer at Karmic Coaching, and today I'm going to be looking at how to become memorable when you've got great executive presence. But first things first, do you believe you're memorable? Hold that thought and let us go through this, and then, of course, we'll come back to this question. But first things first, let's get on the same page, and that is, what's being memorable? Now, there are lots of definitions in the dictionary, and the one that I've chosen comes from the Cambridge Dictionary, which defines memorable as being likely to be remembered or worth remembering. So it's not just that, there are a lot of other things that are also involved in being memorable, and that is, are you are you memorable for the right or the wrong reasons? Now, let me give you an example. On the left hand side, there's this lovely Chinese restaurant. And in fact, when this lady had written to me, I told her that it could be a matter of communication, and that, of course, it's better not to be remembered than to be memorable for all the wrong reasons. And it immediately took me back to a restaurant that I used to frequent as a student in my London days in the late 1980s, called Wong Kei. And it was famous for all the wrong reasons. The biggest one being that the waiters were very, very rude. They'd shout at you uh, to sit down. They'd shout at you if you asked for a fork or knife. They'd, you know, shout at you and run after you if you didn't give a suitable tip. The food was divine, and I suspect all of us went there more for the experience of rude waiters rather than anything else. Of course, the management changed, I believe, in the early 2000s, and after that, the waiters became friendlier. But even today, 30 odd years later, I remember Wonky as much for the food, as much for the rude waiters and the way they used to slam stuff on the table. On the right hand side, we've got this really nice three-course meal dinner table, and that one is related to another story that I remembered about Dale Carnegie, the one who wrote How to Influence People and Make Friends. And he actually tells of a story of how he got this really great sales opportunity because they're at a dinner table party. He sat next to a man who spoke for 4 hours non-stop, allowing Mr. Carnegie to only speak for about 2 minutes. But at the end of all of it, this man declared that Dale Carnegie is the best conversationalist I've ever met. I mean, when you've only spoken for 2 minutes? Well, here's the deal. Mr. Carnegie used active listening. He showed he was interested in this gentleman, and the rewards were that he was remembered and he was given an awesome sales opportunity. Now, given a choice, which one would you want? Would you want to be memorable for the right or the wrong reasons? Now, here's a quick tip, which is also inspired by the Carnegie story, and that is to adopt a positive body language, because that is a silent but powerful communicator. In other words, your posture, your facial expressions, your gestures, they all convey volumes about your executive presence. And I've actually got a blog post that goes deeper into the posture or executive presence. But in this coming slide, here are some quick wins. Firstly, there are three keys to positive body language. The first is, of course, the good posture. You stand tall, shoulders back, straight back. When you stand tall, people tend to remember you more than a slouchy person, unless you're the hunchback of Notre Dame, which I know you are not. The other one is holding an open position, relaxed look with arms and legs uncrossed, fists unclenched, open palms. You're inviting people to converse with you. And thirdly is to smile and maintain good eye contact, because that always indicates receptivity and it creates trust. So, based again on our story and a few other things, here are some more quick wins that you can use to become memorable. Firstly, you make an extra effort to remember people's names. Mr. Carnegie has gone as far as to say that the sweetest sound to anybody's ears is the sound of his own name. Make everyone feel important by paying full attention to him or her. Make them feel like they're the only person in the room and that they're the only people who matter, even if you don't feel so. But you're building trust with the other person. Show curiosity and interest in others and develop the skill of active listening. You know, there's too much hearing going on in the world right now, not enough listening. So, if you can develop this skill, you're much ahead of others. Of course, display a sense of humor and become a good conversationalist by keeping abreast of current events. At least listen to the news, if not read the daily papers, and know what's going on in your own industry. Most importantly, please don't drone away and bore people to sleep. Speak concisely, short, to the point. Nobody has time to hear a whole story before you get to the point. And always ask people for their opinions. I mean, people love the sound of their own voice. They like to feel heard. Do not interrupt when someone is talking. And most importantly, give compliments. Be generous in giving your compliments. Just make sure that you're not coming across as being insincere. And if you also need to develop some executive presence and be memorable, then here are 5 ways you can do it. Firstly, create a great first impression. Your first impression is critical because once it's done, it's done. You won't be able to take it back, even if it turns out that you're the best person for the to help the other person across. Very important in job interviews, as well as if you're looking for promotions and if there's somebody who doesn't know you who's doing the interviewing. So I've also got a blog post on that. I'll share the link with you. The second one is own your uniqueness. I'd love to say, take ownership of your quirks, but maybe your uniqueness is a better way to put it across, because when you blend in, nobody remembers you. But if you actually differentiate yourself for all the right reasons, now remember, you're not going to want to be like the rude waiters at wonky restaurant. Instead, you're going to want people to remember you for something better. So own up to your uniqueness, use it. Practice the law of giving. Again, this world nowadays is so full of me, me, me. People are always trying to take, not give. Be generous, give things. If you can add value to someone's uh, life, do it. If you know somebody who's a good fit, use your networking skills, connect people. All of that comes under the law of giving. And again, I've got a blog post. I'll share the link with you for that. And fourthly, work on developing your expertise. In other words, don't try to be a jack of all trades. People remember things that are superlative. So you need to first find your superpowers and then integrate it into everything you do. Be consistent about it. Let people remember you for all the right reasons. If you're great at storytelling, use storytelling. Tell anecdotes in your conversations with people. They will remember you for it. Or if you've got a special style of doing things, stick to it. If you're good at giving presentations, stick to the presentation giving in your office rather than trying to be in the back end of things. And most importantly, always keep a positive, optimistic attitude. There's enough negativity going around. You don't want to be memorable for all the wrong reasons. You don't want someone saying if there's an opportunity coming up for you for a leadership role or something that a task or a project which could take your career places. You don't want to be shut off from that just because someone says, oh, this person has a negative attitude or this person is very difficult to work with. Instead, optimistic, positive people, they brighten up the room wherever they go. And that too is a part of executive presence. It's part of your wow factor. So keep a positive attitude, work on it. And if you're really curious, then this is the exact executive presence checklist that my subscriber used in order to determine whether she had executive presence. And as it turned out, she did, but she wasn't memorable. So now that I've told you how to be memorable, why not also check out whether you have all these 15 professional habits that indicate leadership presence and your executive presence, of course. And besides, it's free, so you have nothing to lose other than pay with your email address and download it. And there's a lot more that goes along with this. So, coming back full circle, you try the suggestions that I gave you for improving your memorability, and then let me know, are you being memorable for all the right reasons? I look forward to reading your comments, and that's all for now. See you soon in my next set of executive presence tips. This is Vatsala Shukla signing off. Bye.